Go.
So, hey everybody, we are Team 2. We are here to talk to you about communication on research projects, which is the assignment for. So, first of all, we would like to say to you, why is it communication so important on research projects? Communication is very important since it generates positive impacts on researchers themselves too. So by making the public understand what they are doing, they can also prevent misinformation and they can also help to sustain support for their research. So we are here to say to you that also we agree that it's important to also frame the message while we are communicating. So maybe we should be clear about the message that we want to share with the audience, and also simplify the way we are explaining some kind of concepts or either results or methods.
So communication can be split up in two main parts. Internal communications. Internal communication is a function responsible for effective communications among participants within an organization. And external communication means the change of information both within the organization itself and outside the organization. And both of these types of communications start at the beginning of the project.
Okay, communication processes has three different types: communication, dissemination, and exploitation. Communication's aim is to convey the actions and the results of the project to a broad audience, including those who are not directly connected to the project, such as to the general public and the media. Important elements of communication include the logo, the social media as a platform, and others such as websites, newsletters, but also leaflets and etc. In the case of communication, simple use of words is important so that anybody can have a clear view of what happens in the project. The second type of sharing information is the dissemination. Its goal is to convey the information and the results of the project to those who can benefit from it. Therefore, by this, we can create real value of our findings. It has a more narrow audience, such as policymakers, the scientific community, and others. And its platforms are scientific journals, policy briefs, workshops, etc. In this case, scientific language must be used. The last type is exploitation. The main goal of this type of communication is to find those who can further develop and work with the findings of the project and therefore can start a new research cycle. In order to successful exploitation, we must do stakeholder mapping, meaning that we find those who are interested in our results. Market planning, which is the identification of possible market uses of our product, and development of business models. During the communication processes, we must keep in mind that the intellectual property rights of our findings, basically, it is whose is the data that we can disseminate and exploit.
In order to communicate our results and our research successfully, we should use different media platforms such as Instagram, since it is a good way to reach younger audiences. Also Facebook, because we can use through institutional pages that are connected to institutional websites. Also, we can use traditional media such as TV and newspapers, and also scientific journals and articles to reach a more specialized audience.
Now we come to how to frame your message. Framing your message is making certain considerations salient as a way to simplify or shape the way in which an audience understands a particular problem and its potential solution. In other words, framing involves emphasizing certain elements of an issue over others, shaping the way the issue is understood. Different frames must be defined to different audiences and to different goals. Messages should be clear, simple, and easy to understand, appropriate for the target audience, and it must avoid jargons. Messages should be tailored to the different audiences, know the audiences, what drives them, and what are the free concepts. Underlying assumptions on the subject. Messages should be correct, using simple and there must be, and it does not, but that does not mean that we can disregard the content of the message. The elevator pitch is a perfect example of framing a message. It is a brief, persuasive speech that used to spark interest in what your organization does. You can also use them to create interest in a project, idea, or product, or in yourself. It normally lasts between 30 and 90 seconds. It is convincing, emotional, and catchy. They normally take place in an elevator, obviously, or in a coffee shop, brokerage event, or other places where networking is possible.
This March, we had the opportunity to participate at a 5-day-long seasonal school in the topic of research management. We all gained a relevant subject-related knowledge covering the topics of the types and role of RMAs in the research lifecycle, funding alternatives, how to prepare a proposal to a call. We learned about budgeting as well. Also, a major emphasis was on meeting with research managers, and by this, having a first-hand experience on what they do. We also got practical knowledge, as each day we had to work in teams on different tasks. This was good, as we could practice how to work with complete strangers and develop a good team eventually. Perhaps one of the most important experiences of us was that how to assign tasks and coordinate a project in order to all of us to be satisfied and feel successful. During this final assignment, we also practiced communication, as we had to keep the relationship between members despite the long distances. We had to develop a plan to communicate, meaning we had to find dates to hold online meetings and etc. Also, we learned of communication when we prepared a communication plan for our final project. In this, we specified the exact platforms, target groups, and etc. All in all, the seasonal school was useful in gaining international experience and getting real practical experience in research management in various ways. Thank you for your attention. And here you can find our sources. Have a good day.